boxing, a lot of people would have wished boxing would have been as busy as your schedule because obviously October was so dead for us. The biggest fight we had was what BJ Flores versus Tony Bello over in the UK. But November we started off with Manny Pacquiao and Vargas. This week we have Ward versus Kovalev, big fight. Next week, as you stated, Lomachenko versus Walters. December 10th, we have Maris Cuellar, Charlotte Williams, and also Terrence Crawford versus Molina. And even added to that was Baby Bull Diaz versus Ray Beltran. And then the week after that, we have Bernard Hopkins ending his career and everything. Your thoughts on boxing as a whole so far in 2006, minus the cards that are coming up, on how boxing has had a year, the year in boxing of 2016 so far. Your thoughts on where it is, where it has been, where it should have been, who should have fought?
I think there has been a lot of fights that we all wanted to see and didn't happen, and that's because of politics, promoters, managers not working with each other and stuff like that. And I think that has hurt boxing a little. You know, we see it in the numbers. You know, if you're looking at a pay-per-view event, you don't see the numbers the way we used to see them a few years ago. You know, when those the fights that we wanted to see were happening, it did affect. Hopefully with all these big fights coming up, hopefully that brings boxing back to getting good ratings and when it comes to pay-per-view, good pay-per-view numbers. You know, they already mentioned a lot of cards and fights that are going to happen early next year. You know, we're closing the year with some really good fights, and hopefully that starts bringing boxing back to where it was maybe 10 years ago when we were seeing those, you know, De La Hoya fighting Trinidad fighting Vargas. You know, those were big pay-per-views. Mayweather did very well because of, you know, just Mayweather himself. Pacquiao was huge, but we haven't seen that lately because you know, it's just fighters not fighting the fighters that people want to see. It kind of did hurt boxing, and not only the whole boxing world had a bad year, but we all had a bad year. You know, I didn't have any big fights, any big title fights. I was busy throughout the year, but nothing but small fights. You know, I signed a few guys with Bowling Boy that kept them really busy. We have all of our Eastern European guys that are fighting for Top Rank that are very busy. Those that are fighting for main events, they've been very busy. So yes, I've been working, but haven't had those big fights. Mikey's comeback fight was probably, you know, the biggest fight that we had, and it wasn't a huge fight. You know, the opponent wasn't as big as what I'm trying to you know, the year before where Brandon fought Bradley, big fight. Brandon fought Alvarado, they were big fights on HBO, stuff like that. You know, I didn't have it this year, so it was not only it didn't only happen for, you know, to you guys that didn't see much. It happened to me too. You know, I didn't get the fights that happened.
Your thoughts, Mikey, on 2016 as a whole in boxing, minus what we're about to get?
Yeah, some good and some bad, but some of the fights that should have happened or that people want to see aren't happening, just like Robert said, and fans really don't like that. You know, fans want to see them done. You got fighters in a way avoiding certain guys, whether it's politics or business, but still you're avoiding them. Fans really don't like that. Don't take well to that, and it was kind of slow. You had a very good year, you know, a couple years. I think it was like 13 or 14. It was like super good, but then after that, it hasn't really been that great. You had a couple good fights here and there, but not overall. I think it's not only the fighters, but managers and promoters are not willing to put up their star fighter and risk, you know, maybe, you know, a loss. They want to milk it as much as they can, and I mean that kind of does hurt. I mean it works well for them, maybe for business. You can stretch out that fighter's, you know, reign and milk it as much as you can, but the fans really don't like it. So it might be a short-term, you know, gain right there, short-term, you know, but in the long run it might be a loss.
I think what also hurt this year was that, you know, not this year, but the previous year, we all seen the fight that everybody wanted to see, and it wasn't what we expected. You know, the Mayweather.
Yeah, Mayweather.
I think that also hurt. You know, because
And they're talking rematch.
Exactly. So, I think there's a lot of people very excited about that, and business, the numbers will be good.
Yeah.
They'll make their money, but yeah, it's just I think that also had a lot to do with it, with boxing being hurt.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of last minute buyers on that pay-per-view. People putting money down at the last minute. You're right. It's gonna sell in that way.
The promotion companies have also had a lot to do with it because from what I've heard, and I'm sure everybody has heard, a lot of the companies haven't been doing so well. You had Golden Boy who had to rebuild his company almost from scratch. A lot of the fighters that were going through Heyman and PBC weren't getting the good promotion that they were or that they should have gone. They were just fighting and fighting different guys, but not really being promoted that well, not being groomed or promoted to be stars, just to stay busy. They were just fighting to stay busy. You got guys at Top Rank. Top Rank really didn't have big stars either. Manny is the only one that they had. They tried to groom guys like Crawford, but he's still not Manny at that level where he pulls that many people. He sells tickets there at home, but outside it's kind of hard. Ratings are not the best. So it's not just that the fighters aren't willing to fight. It's also the promoters are not doing so well. Main events got Kovalev, and other than that, he hasn't really been.
Exactly.
It's hard. I mean,
Like Gary Shaw.
I don't even know exactly.
Gary Shaw had Tim Bradley.
Gary Shaw, I believe, was bought out, signed with Rock Nation, and
right?
he got bought out.
Yeah, you have Lou DiBella who has promoted New York, who hasn't had any big stars.
Do you remember seeing that
issue with New York right now?
So
South Africa.
They've done a lot of these companies. None of them are the big powerhouse that they used to be years ago. And they weren't working together either. They claim that they're okay, they're gonna start working together, but they just can't seem to really put a show together where fans get the fights they want. Golden Boy, Top Rank are supposed to be working together, but they still don't put shows that the fans really want. Or the same thing with PBC, Heyman, and Top Rank. Golden Boy, supposedly now they're gonna start working, but we don't see it. Now
They gave us a Crawford Molina.
Well,
That's one. Because the last time the last time it was
at least they're starting.
Marchenko Russell, and that was a first bid. It was
Big breaking price. It's not really the.
But it's not
enticing
not
fight.
the fight that fans are asking for. Certain fights that fans would really want to see. But it's a start. Hopefully next year everything turns around. Like the promoters also, they need to really put their work together and start working together. Because if not, if the fighters want to fight each other but the promoters don't, it ain't never gonna happen.